Hello, everybody. I'm Justin.
And I'm Nick.
And
we are Football in the Zone.
So now that Week 14 is almost through, the Bears are going up against the Cowboys. And give me somebody you like.
Somebody I liked tonight that you would definitely have to start was DeMarco Murray. I think he could be a low-end one. Coming off a big day, and the Bears have horrendous
Since
run
Lance
defense.
Briggs ever went down and they got rid of Urlacher,
They can't stop
really can't
anybody.
But a guy I want to see, not only I expect Matt Forte to have a big day and, of course, Brandon Marshall, but I want to see how Alshon Jeffrey comes off that huge day he had last week against Minnesota. I want to see how he could perform against his really banged-up Cowboys defense and if he could really stay hot in your fantasy playoffs. And now, this was really a crazy week.
Pretty insane.
There was a lot of big injuries and great games.
Yeah.
The Patriots defeated the Browns 27-26, and what a game that was. But for the Patriots, Rob Gronkowski tore his ACL, and he won't be back for the rest of the year. But you really can't replace a guy like Rob Gronkowski. But a guy I would look for the waiver wire, off the waiver wire, is Dennis Pitta. Dennis Pitta is really one of Joe Flacco's favorite targets. Last year when he was healthy, he was a top 10 tight end, and I expect him to be around a mid-tight end one right now.
And one of the other good games this week was the Dolphins defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 34-28.
That was a really good game. A toe decided that outcome.
I expected a big game from Mike Wallace, but he really didn't do much against his former team. What do you think he is going forward?
I think he's nothing more. I think you could only trust him if you're in a 3-wide receiver league or if you don't have a great flex. I think he could be in there, but I really don't trust him more than that.
Yeah, same. I have to agree with Justin on that one.
Another big game was the Ravens. The Ravens defeated the Vikings 29-26. One of the biggest headlines of the week came from Adrian Peterson has a sprained ankle, and this could be pretty serious because, I mean,
it affects your fantasy team a lot. Nobody's going to replace
the Minnesota Vikings aren't really in it, so they're not going to rush their best player, and that's pretty scary, but I think Toby Gerhart could be a nice flex option for you.
I think he could be a flex one too, because in this game, Ravens been tough on running backs, and he had almost 90 yards and a touchdown.
Hopefully you're still in the playoffs if you have Adrian Peterson.
And another player.
Another notable injury was Wes Welker. Wes Welker suffered a concussion. He suffers a lot of concussions, but the thing that scares me is that they're coming off a short week, and they're playing on Thursday night. And on Thursday night, I mean, he's not going to have a lot of time to recover, and I think that boosts up their Mary Thomas value, Eric Decker's value, even though you were starting these guys anyway. But that definitely boosts up their value, but I think Wes Welker, I don't think he's going to be able to play this week.
Neither do I. I don't trust him going forward.
Well, now we're going to do a segment called Stud and Dud. Go ahead.
I'm going to go first. One dud this week was Ben Tate. He didn't do anything. I expected a 15 to 20 point game from Ben Tate going up against a bad Jacksonville D, but he really didn't do anything. You're chasing fantasy points.
I almost deleted my project there. But a stud I liked this week was the Colts. The Colts.
You mean Andrew Luck?
Yeah, excuse me. I'm just worrying how I almost deleted my social studies project. That took me forever. But the Colts, again, Andrew Luck, he hasn't really been doing anything for you the last few weeks. But Andrew Luck, he had almost a 40-point day in my league. And I think you could trust him going forward for the rest of the...
As a mid-one.
For the rest of the fantasy playoffs. And he had a big week. Even though they lost, but he had a really big week.
Another stud was Bobby Rainey. He had a big game. He had one touchdown, and he had 127 yards, which is a pretty good day.
A stud this week was Marcus Colston. Marcus Colston, who really hasn't been doing anything all season, he had a couple big games in the beginning of the year, but that was it. You haven't heard his name since. He had 2 touchdowns and 125 yards. A dud this week was Cam Newton. Don't worry about Cam Newton. He only had a touchdown and 160 yards, but this was one bad matchup. Move on with him, and you could trust him. Look what the Saints did for Tony Romo.
I think you could trust him going forward, too. A stud this week was Keenan Allen. He had 59 yards and 2 touchdowns. Even though 9 yards is only 6 points, he still had a lot of receptions, adding on the 2 touchdowns.
A dud this week was Harry Douglas. Harry Douglas, he's been one of the best waiver wire pickups on the season, and he didn't really get a lot of targets from him with Roddy White being healthy. I don't know if you could trust him going forward. How about you?
I don't think you could trust him going forward. And the stud this week was Andre Ellington. He had a lot of yards in the pass game. He had 1 touchdown in the running game and 46 yards. Yeah.
But now we're going to do a segment called Don't Trust and Trust for the rest of your fantasy playoffs. And start it off, Nick.
Are you trusting Eli Manning going forward?
I don't think you could trust Eli Manning. Hopefully you didn't draft him as your number 1 quarterback. Or if you did, you managed to pick up somebody in the beginning of the season like Nick Foles. But if you have him as your number 1, don't trust him for the remainder of the season.
Jared Boykin, trust or don't trust?
Jared Boykin, I don't trust him unless Aaron Rodgers comes back, and I don't think you could trust him. I think he's a low end 3 right now. I don't think you could trust him.
Marcel Reese, trust or don't trust going forward?
Marcel Reese had a big game. I think if Rashad Jennings comes back or Darren McFadden, you can't trust him, when they're 100%. But you can't trust him, and if these guys are both out, I think you could trust him as a flex, but that's it.
Toby Gerhard, trust or don't trust?
I think you could trust him as another flex option, nothing more than that, if Adrian Peterson is really that badly hurt.
Dennis Pitta, trust or don't trust?
I really like Dennis Pitta. I trust him. Like I said, Joe Flacco has a lot of trust in this guy, and he was a top 10 tight end last year when he was healthy, and I think he's a nice safety blanket for Joe Flacco, and I think if you had maybe like a Rob Gronkowski, I think he's a beautiful replacement.
Stevie Johnson, trust or don't trust going forward?
Stevie Johnson, I don't think you could trust him right now. I don't think he's nothing more than a wide receiver 3 in a 3 wide receiver league.
Danny Amendola, trust or don't trust?
If he's healthy, I think he could be a low end 2. I think you could trust him in a 3 wide receiver league. But depending on the matchup, I don't think you could trust him.
Chris Johnson, trust or don't trust?
Chris Johnson, he's really been coming on the last few weeks, and he's been getting a lot of garbage time points with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I think you can trust him. Now the last one.
Hakeem Nicks, trust or don't trust?
Don't trust.
Forward?
He doesn't have 1 touchdown on the season, and
he did have 135 yards this week.
But he can't get in the end zone, and that's the key with Hakeem Nicks. I don't trust him in the fantasy playoffs. Anything you want to add, final, for the video closes? Excuse me. That's it for now.
Thanks for watching.
Follow us on FfInTheZone. On Twitter at FfInTheZone. Thanks for watching.